this year's. Let's go. We talk Arsenal. Will Arsenal sign anybody else? You sent me an interesting message this morning that mentioned Marc Geuhi to Arsenal. Is that a deal that's on? Is that being explored by Arsenal, in your opinion?
Well, no, it started to be whispered again in light of Arsenal having, defensive potential problems. I mean, with Timber out and the Gabriel rumours around him leaving, the Geuhi things come back onto the radar. I think the first rumours were probably like June of there being interest in Marc Geuhi, and Tottenham were linked as well. But the big problem you would have with getting Geuhi right now, well, there's twofold, really. One, the Crystal Palace have absolutely no interest in losing him at this stage of the transfer window. And their valuation of Geuhi is something like £65 million. So that's hugely significant. And I can't see Arsenal being able to do a deal like that. And even beyond that, from the conversations I've had with people who know Geuhi or around him, I don't think he'd go for it right now. Like, it's not that he hasn't got ambition. He has definitely got ambition. But part of that ambition is to make sure he's at the Euros next summer. And if he's going to be at the Euros and be a big, a significant part of what Southgate's going to try and do, he's got to be playing every week. And I don't think he would fancy going into fresh competition with Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, Timber, for a place even in the team every week, and then you've got to perform on top of that. I think it would be bad timing for Geuhi to go to Arsenal. Beyond next year, yeah, I think it's plausible. I think something like this could happen, but my understanding of the situation right now, I'm not seeing it as likely. Palace actually, I think, were linked with Tommy Yasu, which is what also brings this into focus. People kind of make it all make sense. Again, even if Palace were looking at Tomiyasu, I don't think it would be at the cost of losing a player they consider basically to be their best in the squad. Southgate was there having a look at him the other day as well, sat next to the Palace chairman. So there's a lot of reasons why I don't think that will happen. Arsenal obviously still focusing on their clear out for this summer. There's still a couple of people that need to go. Balogun's the big one. I see Gabi Jesus is come back into training now. It's a big boost for Arsenal, but I'm still staggered really that Arsenal are putting £50 million on Balogun and expecting someone to actually pay it. I'll be amazed if anyone does actually reach that level of offer on him, considering that Arsenal don't. Well, it's not they don't like him. That's not true. I think the player's got his own intentions for right now for first team football, so I think that's part of it. But Arsenal obviously not willing to give him that opportunity in front of Nketiah, so they can't rate him that highly. So again, Chelsea being linked with Balogun kind of baffles me, because I'm if you were going to go and spend £50 million on a striker to compete with Nicholas Jackson, you might as well have put the value of those two players together and actually sign someone who's guaranteed to score goals. Go and actually buy Osimhen. Go and sign someone that's actually a proper goal scorer that you know is going to deliver. So I find that a little bit strange too. I'm going to Arsenal at the weekend, mate. They've got Fulham, so I'm taking my 5-year-old to his first away game, and I've got to prepare him for what's to come. I'm not sure how to get him excited for a 4-0 defeat.
yeah. It's funny with Arsenal as well. We'll come back onto that Chelsea link in a minute, because some of their fans have been scathing at their starts of the season, which I don't really understand. Again, they've dominated both games. They just don't put the ball in the back of the net, but we know they're going to. They're catching, and it's likely you or us. It's going to be either Fulham or Man United, maybe both, that are going to get a beating off them soon, because they're going to start putting these chances away. And if they put a couple of extra chances away and blow the confidence and the reason that Forest stayed in the game, the reason that Palace stayed in the game, is because they didn't put the chances away, and you're always just one goal away from being back in it. Yeah. And then it was a dodgy red card for Tomiyasu on Monday. They look really, really good. The Balogun situation is a little confusing. I think he's better than Eddie Nketiah, although what Arsenal fans state, that they obviously a lot closer to their club than most people, is Balogun is the issue here, in terms of he doesn't want to wait for opportunities to play. He wants to be the main man. So they kind of look at it almost feels like Arsenal rate him higher than Eddie Nketiah, but don't rate him as highly as Jesus. So it's a case of you're going to play second fiddle when he doesn't kind of want that. That's how it sort of reads to me. But
Yeah,
I think he's a really talented player. The problem is if Chelsea sign him, as you say, is he ready to start scoring the goals that Chelsea need now? And that seems to be their issue. On Geuhi, again, I really like him. I think he's really, really talented. What's your understanding of Gabriel? Because I know that Fabrizio played this down on Monday night, that there's no way he's leaving. But a little bit like Varane, it's just one of those rumors that continues to linger. You know, it gets shut down, but it still doesn't completely go away. Have you heard anything about maybe that's the reason why he's been on the bench recently, that they're trying to sell him? Or is it just a case of building his fitness up or trying a few new formations? What's your understanding around the Gabriel situation?
I think the strangest thing about it, so at the start of the window, I had to do like a transfer guide for all the big clubs for Give Me Sport. And one of the sections was like a surprise exit to look out for. So I spoke to a really good Arsenal contact and was like, who would you say, like, if they were to suddenly lose someone that nobody's expecting? He was like, oh, keep an eye on Gabriel. Like, that would definitely be Gabriel. Like, there is potential that if this transfer window opened up in a certain way, that he could leave the club. And I did it at the time, and I kind of had forgotten about it coming into pre-season and stuff. And then obviously he was out of the team for the first fixture. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I spoke to him again. And look, there has been interest from PSG. There's been interest from Real Madrid. And there has been interest from the Saudis. I don't think any of that is directly. He didn't say that was directly related to why he's not in the team. But it does seem strange. And I can't believe that Gabriel would be okay with this. If there's no injury involved, then I can't believe that he would be totally settled right now at Arsenal. Which raises the question, if an offer landed, could his head be turned? And that would be something that could leave Arsenal a little bit stuck right now. As I say, with that Saudi transfer window dragging beyond our transfer window too, that's quite worrying to have a link that strong as it was. I just say, like, Arsenal are now completely playing this down. And even this guy, I said, like, what do you think? He's like, mate, Arsenal are so heavily stanced right now that they will not sell him, that I don't see how it can happen unless, like, Gabriel was to properly kick off. So take it for what it is and say Gabriel is staying, but it does seem very weird.
Yeah, it's one of, again, I don't think he's going to leave. I think he's one of their main guys. It's just, I'm always intrigued by these rumors that even when, you know, most people's goat in Fabrizio says it ain't happening, there's still that element of, like, people are not 100% convinced in my opinion. But yeah, I think they'd be crazy to let him go. Although I do think he's a really good signing. There's a super chat here that says, what our fans don't get is we are in second gear. People think this is unsustainable, but we are just warming up. Yeah, look, I've thought a lot about Arsenal fans that have said this is unsustainable. And often that word becomes famous when talking about performances of clubs under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'd never really heard it used before. But Man United were winning games that we weren't the best in. It's unsustainable when you're not the best team in a game. So the Fulham, the Man United Wolves performance for me is the epitome, the definition of unsustainable performance, where you win, but you're nowhere near the best team. When you're the team that dominates the ball, has the most chances, barely has opportunities against you, and you're just missing opportunities to kill the game off, that's not unsustainable, because if that trajectory continues, if you dominate games, you're more likely to win them than lose them. So yeah, it's this nonsense of unsustainability at Arsenal at the moment. I think holds no water personally. Colton here says Arsenal win 4-0. I don't know what that next word. Something of
scale of 7 to 10. How negative is Gunnar Lee Northside base? Because you know it isn't below 7.
How negative are they? I think. Do you know what I think it really comes down to? And Northside might be on the terrace again tonight on the top 6 show, people. So make sure you tune in. I think there's this element of, you get this in politics. When you get somebody of prominence that rises up on the left, on the far left, you often get somebody on the far right who rises up simultaneously. History proves that to us. And I think that's human nature. And I think now that we are viewing football opinions through a very different lens to what we did when we were younger, Dean. When we were younger, it was in the playground at school or in the canteen at work with our friends, maybe at family at home, or maybe the small group of people you socialize with at football. So you only really saw your opinions. Now, everyone has a platform to talk. And when you get some people that are like, I saw an Arsenal fan on AFTV on Monday night, and this is one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life, said that like Kai Havertz has been amazing. And actually, footballers on average spend around 96 to 97% of the time off the ball. Therefore, we should focus on their off the ball work more than their on the ball work. Which is, for me, it's mental gymnastics to try and make it sound like Kai Havertz has been astoundingly good, rather than just started okay. So when you get people that are that extreme, you will therefore get people that don't agree with that opinion, that are so far extreme the other way, that they come out and say he was dog poo, he was rubbish, he's the worst signing ever, we're in trouble as a club. And I kind of look at it and go, both sides are wrong. You've started well this season as a team. I don't think it's unsustainable. Kai Havertz has been okay. He's been good. There's levels for it. You want him to raise those levels, but the answer is really in the middle. But you often get the extreme negative to counter the extreme positive, and you get it in nearly every single walk of life, from politics right through to football, because it's human nature. It must be human nature, if that makes sense. But and I'm not saying anybody's far left or far right. I'm just giving you an example of these things. But yeah, I'm not talking about any football fans' political beliefs. I'm just giving you that as an example. So that's my view on that. Thanks for that super chat.